Good afternoon, all, and thank you so much for joining us for the Minerals to Metals online forum. Today's topic is the MtM initiative, Whence We Came and Where We Are Bound. Our hosts for the first time and potentially for the foreseeable COVID future is the Southern African Institute for Mining and Metallurgy. A huge thank you for providing us with this platform. Before we start, I'd like to just briefly go through some Zoom etiquette. Please keep your mic muted and turn off your video. If you have any questions during the presentation, please enter them into the Q&A section below. There will be a Q&A session. Please raise your hand at that time to ask your question if you would like to. Please note this forum is recorded and will be made available to the public. If you would like to remain anonymous, please change your name and leave your question in the chat. If you need any assistance, please drop me a message in the chat or email me at Aysha, aysha.lotter, L-O-T-T-E-R, @uct.ac.za, and I can try and assist from that side. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Isabel Geldenhuys from the Southern African Institute for Mining and Metallurgy.
Thank you very much for that introduction. And first of all, thank you very much to everyone for joining us today for this first event. During the national lockdown, the SAIMM decided that we would like to engage with our members and make sure that we all keep our faith in the minerals industry alive during very tough times. So before I continue, who I am, in case you don't know me, my name is Isabel Geldenhuys. My day job is at MtM, where I'm a pyrometallurgy researcher, and I'm currently the manager of the pyrometallurgy section. In my volunteer status, I am currently the Senior Vice President of the SAIMM. So as part of our efforts to engage with the industry and to continue engaging with our members, and also for beyond COVID-19, we would like to have a digital presence. We created a free online webinar series where all our members have access to information about where the mining industry is going, what we can do, and the sustainability of the industry, as broad as leadership. So we've been addressing all these topics around anything that's related to mining and metallurgy. And when I became aware of the success of the Zoom meetings that the MtM was having, I contacted the team and said, wouldn't it be great if we could spread these messages even further? And that's where this collaboration comes from. So without any further ado, I will hand over to the team, and I wish everybody good luck, and I hope this is a relationship we can continue way into the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Isabel. I think next we'll have Allan.
Very good afternoon to all our attendees. It's with great pleasure that I open this seminar for the Minerals to Metals Research Group, hosted, as you just heard, by the South African Institute of Mining and Metallurgy. And I see we've just gone through 110 attendees, so that is really encouraging. These seminars started about 2 months ago, obviously as a result of the COVID virus challenges. And in a very short space of time, we found that the numbers were growing. And so I think this situation here with us being hosted by the SAIMM, I think certainly is just what we need at this point. I actually wear 2 hats here. Firstly, I'm a former alumnus of the Minerals to Metals, having completed my PhD in 2016. But I'm also currently the chairperson of the Western Cape branch of the South African Institute of Mining and Metallurgy, my second term of office. Well, as you've heard, the SAIMM needs little in the way of introduction. It's been around for 126 years, and it's the largest, I would imagine, the largest process professional institute in sub-Saharan Africa. The Minerals to Metals was established in about 2006, very much more recent. It happened around about the time that Professor J.P. Francidis took over the Saki Research Chair. And I'm reliably told that to date we produced approximately 60 postgraduate students, one of which includes myself, and that currently we have about 40 students completing both master's and doctoral studies through the MtM. So most of the work that these students do is in the field of hydrometallurgy, which I think is reasonable to say is a burgeoning and critically important area for mineral processing engineers, as we face the twin demands of more complex ore bodies and greater demand for more exotic resources due to technological development. Every time I look at a laptop, I realize just how important hydrometallurgy is becoming. It's reasonable to say that MtM is one of the foremost research facilities at the University of Cape Town. And so I look forward to this wonderful partnership, which starts right here today. We only have an hour, so I'm not going to carry on too much. I'm just going to leave it right there and hand back to Aysha. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now I'm going to hand over to Jochen Petersen, who will give us more of an introduction to the Minerals to Metals Institute.
Okay, welcome everybody. So my name is Jochen Petersen, and I'm the current director of the Minerals to Metals Research Initiative. And I have the honor to give you a brief introduction of what we are and what we do in a way, virtual organization at UCT. So we fall away a little bit from the conventional definitions of a research center or a research institute, but we see ourselves much more as an interdisciplinary research education and engagement platform. Platform is the word here, which is like in a station, a meeting and parting and arriving of people to exchange ideas, exchange knowledge, to drive our insights further. So in that role, in that format, we're trying to play a leading role in global minerals industry through advising on and the development of smart and sustainable extractive technology and resource management strategies under a social license to operate. And all of these items in bold are important aspects of what we do. And Jenny will later expound on that in a lot more detail. The key thing is here to understand there's no one individual. So it's not me or Jenny Broadhurst or an individual who runs the whole show here. The whole idea is to bring together experts from a vast area of disciplines such as process engineering, geology, geographic sciences, mining, law, social sciences, and management. And those people originally coming from UCT, but now increasingly from affiliated institutions in South Africa and around the world. So our mission in all of this is to be an interdisciplinary research and education platform to support a sustainable and socially responsible mineral sector in Africa. So that's quite an ambitious venture, but we hope through the activities that we have done over the past 14 years and hope to do well into the future to do justice to that mission. So we do this through three interconnected areas of activity, primarily, and it's already been mentioned, through research for technical research, but increasingly interdisciplinary research, where the whole aspect is the integration of different disciplines and knowledge areas, and through that providing a lot of innovation. Obviously, research on its own is only goes so far, so we need to not just create the gospel, but bring it out and preach it. So the education and training aspect of the of our work is important through postgraduate training, through continuous professional development and undergraduate teaching, but much more importantly, also through the engagement with stakeholders out there. So we're trying to, through doing that, bridging the gap between science and policy, we're trying to capitalize on convening power and create perspectives on real issues and real challenges, rather than sitting in a sort of technological ivory tower like as an academic one is very often want to do. So in terms of research, we pursue a sort of research philosophy which encompasses a number of layers. We're starting off at a very fundamental layer where we're looking at really fundamental technical mechanisms at the level of physics and chemistry, biology, and bring these then up, integrating that into developing processes, unit operations, reactors, and then moving on to integrating them into actual processes, looking at whole mineral value chains, and then understand how these mineral and beneficiation systems interact with people, the planet, and prosperity on a much grander scale. So we do this in 6 grouped research themes, which are listed here in no particular order: mineral value chain, strategic minerals, value from waste, artisanal and small-scale mining, license to operate, decision support and innovation, and resilient development of resilient post-mining communities. And here in the following 2 slides, I'm just giving a little bit of a snapshot of the many projects that we have done and are currently doing in these areas. This is by no means exhaustive, because it would fill too much time, take up too much time to discuss. But here on the level of fundamental chemistry, physics, mineralogy, biology, for example, we are looking at alternative chemistry for copper and gold leaching, low energy comminution, mineral carbon sequestration, dust characterization. Then at the next level up, the unit operations, looking at vat and heap leaching reactors for low-grade ores, tailings and waste, ion exchange system for metal recovery from dilute solutions. Then the next level up, integrated process development, we developing flow sheets for complete metal and material recovery from printed circuit boards, urban waste, which is a new mineral of much interest. We're looking at processes for valorization of acid generating coal waste. And then at the next level up, now my screen has frozen. We're looking at the analysis of mineral to metal value chains, where we're looking at complete comparative process flow sheet studies from ore deposit mineralogy to metal product. We're doing this in the case of the zinc circuits in comparing different approaches to that in a global context. Sustainable technology transfer, where we're looking at evaluating the barriers and enablers for technology adoption in the context of acid mine drainage mitigation, e-waste processing, mercury-free artisanal gold mining. And then finally, the much bigger, broader aspect is the raison d'etre of the mining industry, the license to operate, and how we create resilient mining communities. We do this through a mine dust network, SDGs and the social barometers in mining, development of a fibrous plant economy for closing mine sites, and in particular, that last aspect, Jenny will expand on quite a bit more. And then on education and engagement, we have an education point, a lead program, leaders in extractive in the for Africa's development. That is a course program that appears in the conjunction of the Mining Indaba. We have the Minerals to Metals Forum, the very forum that we're attending now. Many workshops on specific themes. We obviously do, as academics, publish prolifically, not just in terms of research articles, but also publications and brochures, and we have our website, the site of which I've given here. So I'll leave it at that, and I would like to hand over back to Aysha now to comment and offer a acknowledgement of the contribution that particularly our students and also our founder, Dee Bradshaw, have made to the Minerals to Metals initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Jochen. I'm actually going to bounce off straight to Megan Becker, who will present the Shining Light Award.
For the opportunity today to be able to deliver this long-awaited presentation. of the Dee Bradshaw Shining Light Floating Trophy Award. So in preparing for today, I couldn't but help think what Dee would have thought of COVID-19 and lockdown. And I imagine her somewhere between the extremes of being desperately in a fix because she couldn't connect with her friends, students, and colleagues, sharing a much needed hug, versus the sheer excitement at the opportunities that have been opened up with the immediate move to remote learning, online conferencing, and discussions connecting people from all over, such as what we have today. And so it is perhaps fortuitous that we have the opportunity for this presentation today, also as this week marks the 2nd anniversary of her passing in June 2018. So let me step back to early 2018, at the time when Dee was clearing out her office in the new engineering building, recognizing that her battle with cancer was starting to take its toll, and that she needed to step back from her responsibilities at UCT. It was at this time that she passed a traditional 1880 carbide miner's lamp into my safekeeping. The miner's lamp had been given to Dee during her time at UCT as the holder of the NRF Saatchi Chair in Minerals Beneficiation, and also as the director of the Minerals to Metals initiative in the years 2015 to 2018. So this lamp had been given to her by our adjunct professor, Mike Solomon. Mike then later told me the story of how he had salvaged this lamp from an old corrugated storehouse at the Rand Consolidated Mine in Krugersdorp in the 1970s and had to purchase it from the company for a nominal fee. Carbide lamps were used by miners just before the turn of the 20th century as a modern innovation to replace candles underground. They were used universally until the first battery-operated lamps came into use in the 1920s. The miner's lamp was used to provide illumination for miners working underground, both to light their path and as a beacon for others to see where they are. And actually, in preparing for today, I've gone and had a look at some of these lamps on YouTube, and you can see how they shine, and they're quite cool little things. So in the same way, Dee was a radiant and a shining light to all of us in Minerals to Metals. She initiated so many excellent research themes and concepts that are still guiding some of the research, guiding much of the research that we're doing today. But also, she was really a beacon of warmth, light, grace, optimism, with a heart for mentoring and nurturing others. And in the days after her death, I never ceased to be amazed at how many people suddenly came to me and opened up about how she touched their lives. And some of them I didn't even know that Dee had, connected with these people. I think it just lets you know how wide-reaching Dee's network was and how many people she knew and she connected with. So Dee made a specific request to me that the miner's lamp be established as the Dee Bradshaw Shining Light Floating Trophy Award to be presented annually to a Minerals to Metals postgraduate student deserving of recognition. At our research day last year, we launched this award by introducing many of you to the miner's lamp and indicating that we would make a call in the months to come for nominations of deserving students. In February this year, the call went out for nominations for a Minerals to Metals postgraduate student who during 2019 both excelled academically and demonstrated clear leadership consistent with the overarching mission of the Minerals to Metals initiative of building a platform for sustainable development in Africa through minerals and metals. We received a single nomination for 2020, that is, in recognition of a student from 2019, and an extraordinary retrospective nomination for 2019 in recognition of a student from 2018. And the subcommittee that was administering this award, comprising Jenny Broadhurst, Mike Solomon, Thandazile Moyo, and myself, elected to put forward both these names of students for voting in consideration of presenting 2 awards. And the response that we received from the Minerals to Metals family was unanimous in support of presenting both awards. And I think it is only fitting that both of these students were well known and mentored by Dee herself at some point. So the first award goes to Zainab Sedan for academic excellence and leadership contributing to sustainable development in Africa through minerals and metals in 2018. Zainab graduated with distinction in 2019 for her groundbreaking work conducted in the previous years on the current state of the whole e-waste value chain in South Africa. Her master's thesis, entitled Exploring the Potential for Local End Processing of E-Waste in South Africa, received high praise from the examiners and laid the foundation for much follow-on work in that area. Dee clearly recognized Zainab's talent and was very anxious to bring her centrally under the Minerals to Metals umbrella. Zainab not only shone academically, but also made a very definite mark on the Minerals to Metals students, with her light and always very spiritual touch. In the department, she contributed to other initiatives, having actively supported the chemical engineering fundraising race, whose aim was to extend a financial helping hand towards undergraduate students in their final year of study in 2018. She was also active in the Minerals to Metals outreach program, visiting the LEAP school campus in Langa to inspire and raise awareness for e-waste recycling. During her master's, she was lead author of 2 articles published in conference proceedings and presented her work at the SAIMM Sustainable Hydrometallurgical Extraction of Metals conference in 2016 and at the MEI Sustainable Minerals 18 conference. So well done to Zainab. The second award goes to Deval Hugo for academic excellence and leadership in the year 2019. Deval is a current PhD student in Minerals to Metals, previously supervised and also handpicked by Dee. He has made a significant contribution to the coordination of this Minerals to Metals forum over the last 2 years and has upheld the spirit of the group while also assisting in the organization of other Minerals to Metals events, such as the research day we held last year. At the same time, he has also contributed to a EU Horizon 2020 Interims project and worked consistently on his PhD on water accounting and assessment for mine water management. His thought leadership article on water accounting and assessment for mine water management was published in the Future Water Minerals to Metals MILA publication on regenerative water futures, tensions around water scarcity and the mining industry in 2019. He also presented at the local SAIMM Minerals Showcase Symposium in 2019 and at the Resources for Future Generation Conference in Canada in 2018. Well done to Deval. As you can see, the D. Bradshaw Shining Light Lantern has been engraved with both your names, and we have certificates to present to each of you. And I will email them to you straight after this event, as well as a book prize to accompany the award. So Tanda Zila recommended this book, Time to Think by Nancy Klein, which is a book on thought leadership and precisely the type of book Dee herself would have read. I'm hoping that one day we'll be able to make a plan for each of you to actually receive this book. And so in closing, I'd also like to challenge the 2020 cohort of students. Now is the time to act in these very extraordinary times as you further your own research and also make your mark in this very exciting community of minerals and metals. I recall when either Dee or I was feeling down or low at some point, Dee would come out with her saying, "This too shall pass." So we know that lockdown and COVID-19 won't be here forever, whereas mining, in some shape or form, will be with us for many years to come. Thank you all, and well done specifically to Deval and Zainab. I know Dee would be very proud of you both.
Thank you so much. I'd like to also just give Zainab and Deval maybe 2 or 3 minutes quickly to address and receive the award in their own way. Zainab, would you like to come forward?
Thanks, Aysha, and thank you, Megan, so much for just that warming reminder of Dee's memory. And also just thank you for the recognition as well. When I was asked by Jochen to just kind of share a little bit about what Minerals to Metals meant for me, the first thing that came to my mind, and maybe it's very fitting for some of you engineers on the call, is that Minerals to Metals really helped me let go of my engineering ego, which I think we all kind of get attached to while studying and being at the university campus, and how engineering is a difficult, or at least a tough course to get through, and it really takes a lot of perseverance and determination. But with that comes this ego, and definitely Minerals to Metals helped me shed that and actually invite other perspectives into my little toolbox, especially because it takes kind of a strong emphasis on interdisciplinary work and being a T-shaped professional, not necessarily just an expert in your narrow field. And so that's something that I take to me in my current job, and it really set me up for my career going forward, not being in a purely hard engineering career, but more in a wider sustainability space. And so I am forever grateful for that experience and for just opening my mind to that. And yeah, so I really like to thank the Minerals to Metals team as well for ensuring that students are exposed to these way of thinking, because it definitely prepares us for the world so much better, because the world isn't just a black box, if you will, of engineering. It's actually mixed with politics and social issues, environmental issues, and we need to integrate all of that in order to overcome certain challenges, and especially when dealing with crises like the one that we're in. So I'm really grateful for being a part of this family and continue to be. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Zainab. Deval, are you able to? There we go.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Let me pull up this. So yeah, I think firstly I'd like to echo what Zainab said in terms of Megan really setting the scene really well and giving the context that I think a lot of us have in terms of our relationship and the way that we think about and remember Dee. So I'm very grateful there for the things that she said. But yes, in general, thank you. I'm very happy, and on top of everything, grateful for the many opportunities for students that come from Minerals to Metals, and Dee's idea of living gold. It really shines through in many ways there, particularly through the kind of work that MtM has focused on and the kinds of discussions that the forum has always tried to foster. And I also think to the green mining workshop and the kind of discussions that were had there really shows the scope and the scale of the things that Minerals to Metals was trying to work on. And so for me, it was always very clear that Minerals to Metals' aim was to dig a little bit deeper and open things up a bit wider until you can start to see the linkages between things that are not always apparent. And now that I think about it, the analogy of the shining light is of course very apt in that context as well. So whether directly or indirectly, Minerals to Metals has definitely contributed to shaping the way that I think about things and the way that you see the world. And I sincerely hope it has the momentum to kind of keep that crucible glowing, and I'm also very happy that there's recognition for the energy that many people put into Minerals to Metals in various ways. And I'm hopeful that we've got a strong foundation for the next cohort of students, like Megan said, for 2020, to take it forward. Because, for example, I think this latest series of forums under very difficult circumstances has shown that impetus is definitely still there. Yeah, so thanks again to everyone, and of course to Dee in particular. I think it's all, at the end of the day, comes and has all sort of like an all roads lead to Rome type of feeling to it in terms of the influence that she has on everything. Yeah.
Thanks, Awal. Yeah, it's really heartwarming to hear from both of you, having just started on my journey into MtM. I'm quite excited. So I'd like to now invite Jenny to turn on her video and give us a presentation on the projects that Minerals to Metals is currently focused on.
So I just want to say thank you to Jochen and Megan, Zainab and Isabel, I think, for setting the context for what I'm about to speak about. And I'm now going to share. Okay, so officially, good afternoon, colleagues. I'm sure that those of you who have been actively involved with Minerals to Metals will agree that it has been distinguished by its exclusive culture and its multifaceted research approach to the sustainability challenges facing the minerals sector. And I can honestly say that I consider myself really privileged to have been one of the founding members of this relatively small but very dynamic and continuously evolving research group at the University of Cape Town. So today I'd like to share some of what I consider to be the highlights of my journey with Minerals to Metals over the past 14 years. And as many of you are probably aware, Minerals to Metals was established in 2007 as one of then 5 signature research themes at the University of Cape Town. And going through my archives, I found a snapshot of our first Minerals to Metals website, which I think really reflects our original vision and mission, which was to firstly create a multidisciplinary research organization in the area of minerals beneficiation by initially bringing together the activities of 4 research groupings within the chemical engineering department. And these were the Center for Minerals Research, the Center for Bioprocess Engineering Research, the Crystallization and Precipitation Research Unit, and the Environmental Process and Systems Engineering Research Group. And then eventually to extend these collaborations to other research groupings within and beyond UCT. And this mission was born out of the realization that whilst these existing research groupings provided significant depth of expertise and discipline-focused research, there was a need to develop a better understanding of the interrelated nature of operations across whole minerals to metals, value chains, and the extent to which these relationships influence the performance of minerals beneficiation systems as a whole, particularly in terms of resource efficiency, cleaner production, and contribution to the broader sustainable development agendas. And for the benefits of our students and all my younger colleagues, 14 years ago, this was pretty heady and progressive stuff. And I can still remember quite vividly the sense of excitement amongst all the very learned academics in the boardroom as they put together this first so-called Minerals to Metals bubbleogram and developed our research philosophy, which, as discussed by Jochen and I think also alluded to by Zainab, integrates a deep technical and sometimes fundamental understanding of the underlying physical and chemical principles with systems thinking and holistic approaches that consider the whole minerals to metal value chain and its interaction with the broader society and environment in which it operates. And it is this unique perspective which continues to underpin our research agenda some 14 years later. And although we had very ambitious ideas and vision, we started slowly with just 4 master's level postgraduate students, each one of which was, I think sometimes to their regret, supervised by a minimum of 2 academics across at least 2 different research groupings. And this was to consciously build multi and interdisciplinary research capacity. And the initial focus was on themes of energy, water, wastes, and low-grade ores. So fast track to 2020, and this portfolio has evolved and expanded to include new and more often than not non-technocentric research areas, covering then aspects such as mine environment, community relationships, and systemic performance analysis, with projects now being categorized and focused into the 6 high-level research themes already mentioned by Jochen, and our cohort of minerals to metals students and researchers, now expanding to include the order of 10 academics and postdoctoral fellows, more than 30 research associates and affiliates from different organizations, including academia, government, NGOs, and industry, and currently 40 postgraduate students. And whilst we still lever off the deep technical and engineering skills within our cohort, much of the research in minerals to metals occurs in the interface between the minerals and metals beneficiation systems, so that's our bubbleogram on the 4th level in this diagram, and people and planet and profit, and is conducted in collaboration with scientists from a number of different disciplines, including natural sciences, humanities, law, and economics. And so whilst our underpinning research philosophy has not really changed much over the last 14 years, our mission has evolved from that of working together to promote premier multidisciplinary research to serving as an interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary research, education, and engagement platform. And this evolution has not happened overnight, but has stemmed from the development of projects and formation of new partnerships over a period of more than 13 years, which in turn has expanded opportunities and continuously opened up new and as yet unexplored areas of research. And in the next few slides, I would like to discuss some of the initiatives that have certainly served to shape my perspectives, and I think have also made a significant contribution to the evolving perspectives of minerals to metals. And one of these initiatives is undoubtedly the Master of Philosophy degree program, specializing in sustainable mineral resource development. And this program was based on the recognition that shifting the mineral sector into a new paradigm would require leaders with a broad range of skills that can best be learnt in a dynamic, multidisciplinary, industry-focused environment. And so we set about developing a postgraduate degree program that would produce so-called T-shaped individuals that Zainab has already alluded to, and who have a deep disciplinary knowledge combined with a broader understanding of the complex sustainability challenges facing industry and society, a sensitivity on how to protect this knowledge in the context of different stakeholders, and an ability to develop knowledge at an advanced level in and around the African mining center industry through research. And so we set about developing this program. And whilst this program, which attracted significant funding from the African Development Bank, was quite unique in its design and structure, with courses, the eclectic bunch of courses being delivered across 4 different campuses in Southern Africa. What has really made this program unique is the diversity of its cohorts. Typically any classroom would comprise of students from a range of different disciplines and backgrounds. Typically we would have economists, lawyers, foresters, engineers, social anthropologists, and geologists, ranging from young graduates to senior executives at mining companies. And we've even had village elders, which you can imagine has given rise to some really exciting classroom discussions and exercises around role playing. And apart from the educational benefits, this program generated a number of new research areas and collaborative partnerships over the 2015 to actually it was 14 to 2018 period, and has played a key role in developing transdisciplinary research and teaching capacity within the group. In terms of our research focus areas, I think one of our more significant and consistent thrusts over the past 14 years has been on the development of resource-efficient approaches for the management of mining and mineral processing wastes, with a view to turning them from a liability to an opportunity. And consistent with Minerals to Metals collaborative philosophy, this work has been conducted in partnership with the Centres for Minerals Research and Bioprocess Engineering Research, and has been based on 3 premises. So firstly, that the current rehabilitation approaches do not completely remove the long-term pollution risks and liabilities posed by large volume waste dumps, and have yet to be proven effective in generating a walkaway status, that is, a site that is self-sustaining over the long term. And secondly, that the continued emissions of contaminated leachate and dust from active and defunct mine dumps impacts on the quality of life of local communities, resulting in conflict situations. And thirdly, the land disposal of large volume mine waste represents a loss of mined resources and is simply not consistent with the principles of cleaner production, industrial ecology, resource efficiency, and the circular economy, and as such really cannot be considered to be sustainable. And it has been in this context that we have developed an approach for the management of mine waste, which is aimed at removing pollution and health risks in perpetuity, while simultaneously maximizing value recovery and repurposing bulk material as feedstock for other uses. And our work in this area has focused largely on sulfide wastes, particularly coal and gold processing wastes, which are of particular concern in South Africa, largely due to their association with acid rock drainage. And our approach has been based on the innovation value chain, with projects covering desktop feasibility studies on potential opportunities, laboratory scale test work on those opportunities that have been identified, waste characterization, environmental impact and economic modeling, as well as qualitative analysis on the barriers and enablers to technology transfer. And the latter sort of focus has stemmed from the initial skepticism to our approach, not only from practitioners, but also our fellow academics, particularly in the early years of our research, which commenced some 13 years ago. But we have witnessed a significant change in the discourse around large volume mining and mineral beneficiation wastes over this 13-year period, particularly so since the Brumadinho tailings disaster in Brazil that I'm sure you've all heard about. And we've been approached by a number of industry organizations with regards to our work in this area in the past 18 months subsequent to this tailings collapse. So our research studies on the value recovery and repurposing of mine waste are currently expanding quite significantly to incorporate waste from base metal, heavy mineral sands, as well as ferroalloy sectors. So this is really an ongoing and very vibrant area of work. Another flagship of Minerals to Metals is our work in the area of mine dust and the collaborative and interdisciplinary mine dust and health network, which we established in 2016 within Minerals to Metals, and has since attracted quite some nice significant funding from the United Kingdom Global Challenges Research Fund. And this sort of work stemmed from the recognition that whilst the occupational exposure to mine dust has received quite a lot of recognition and is quite well understood, the environmental impacts the impacts of dust on surrounding environments is less well studied and understood. So with this in mind, we established the Mine Dust Network to serve as a collaborative, transdisciplinary and intersectoral think tank that informs research and also policy and practice in terms of addressing the issues and challenges associated with the emission of dust from mining-related activities, and this includes ore extraction, processing, as well as the transport of ores. And in so doing, sets out to identify and co-develop integrated and holistic solutions to these challenges, with the ultimate aim of improving the quality of life, health, and environment of impacted communities, with an initial focus on Southern Africa, but eventually expanding into other countries within Africa, Asia, and South America. And whilst our current networking events have been a little bit curtailed by the dreaded pandemic, we did manage to hold our first GCRF-sponsored workshop in Cape Town in September last year, and it was attended by 46 members of our current 97 cohort, member cohort, and these were all from South Africa as well as Zambia, and they represented a number of different sectors and disciplines. And in October, we also sponsored and participated in the annual conference of the National Association for Clean Air. And in parallel with the activities of this network, we are currently conducting postgraduate research on characterizing the potential health risks associated with coal dust, and this is being conducted in collaboration with the Immunology Department at the Faculty of Health, as well as projects on the dispersion of metal-bearing dusts and the potential environmental and human health effects of such in Saldanha Bay, which we are undertaking in collaboration with the Department of Environmental and Geographical Sciences at UCT and with the Western Cape Government. So another strategic research theme that is really very active currently focuses on mine closure planning and post-mining socio-economic transformation. With almost 6,000 abandoned mines and looming further closures of gold mines in the Witwatersrand area and coal mines in Mpumalanga, this is an area of growing importance in the South African context, as well as more broadly in Africa, where mining occurs in close proximity and frequently catalyzes the development of human settlements. Last year, we completed a collaborative interdisciplinary community of practice project, which explored the potential utilization of fiber-rich plants such as bamboo, hemp, and kanaf for simultaneously restoring degraded mine land and stimulating economic growth beyond the life of mine. And this project was carried out in collaboration with a number of other research groups at UCT, including Mineral Law in Africa, the Development Policy Research Unit, the Center for Bioprocess Engineering Research, and the Future Water Institute. This allowing us then to look at these opportunities from a legal, economic, environment, and engineering perspective. And this concept is currently being tested in a living laboratory pilot project within the Witwatersrand goldfields. So there's a lot of scope there. We've just got funding to do the initial scoping and feasibility study of what will probably be a really long project. We're also conducting postgraduate student projects on integrated mine closure, just transitions in coal mining regions, rehabilitation of coal and asbestos mines, and the development of a mine closure risk and opportunity rating system for South African mining mines, which builds on our work on the socio-economic status of South African mining communities in terms of SDG indicators. And lastly, I'd be remiss if I did not make mention of two other strategic areas that have emerged over the past few years, namely the development and implementation of technologies for e-waste recycling. So this is something that Zainab worked on, as well as technologies to support artisanal and small-scale mining activities. And both these thrusts are very concerned with the interface between technology, environment, and society, so very consistent with the ethos of Minerals to Metals. So whilst research in areas of strategic performance will remain central to activities, Minerals to Metals will also continue to play a critical role in the development of the next generation of researchers, education, practitioners, and leaders. And this is something that actually is very quite close to my heart personally. Capacity development is through the delivery of postgraduate and CPD programs, which Jochen has already touched on. But also through the mentoring of the next cohort of minerals to metals researchers and academics. And I'm pleased to say that we, alongside our postdoc cohort, we have a strong group of emerging researchers in Thandazile Moyo, Joanna van Holt, and Megan Cole, who I'm really enjoying working with. And equally important, and Jochen's also touched on this, is the dissemination of our research findings, particularly in terms of developing capacity and challenging the thinking within the broader community of young professionals engaged with the sector in one way or another. And this is achieved through workshops, forums, and through freely available publications, most of which you can download from our website. And whilst acknowledging the important role of the emerging generation of leaders, I would like to end off by honouring the former and current leadership within Minerals to Metals, so particularly our founding director, Professor J.P. Franzidis, and the late and extremely inspiring Professor D. Bradshaw, who I'm sure from the previous speeches you've gathered has played a key role in getting Minerals to Metals to really push beyond the technical. So on that note, I'd like to thank you for listening, and I'm going to hand you back to the host to run the question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jenny. We've got two questions here, and I think they're both directed to you. First, the question was asked, but I think you've answered it, but maybe just reiterate. If someone is interested in participating in research with MtM, how does one go about doing that?
Just email me or Jochen. Our contact details are on the Minerals to Metals website, www.mineralstometals@uct.co.za. Yes, we're always keen to hear from you, and we run a whole lot of CPD programs as well as Masters and PhD.
And then another question for you. Please elaborate on the difference between the Master of Science and Master of Philosophy.
Okay, so the Master of Science is really for people, firstly, who have a background in the natural sciences or engineering. And there we will, our MSCs do focus more on the technical aspects, so we are looking for people with strong technical backgrounds. Our MPhil is where we do, particularly on our MPhil for sustainable mineral resource development. Here we are looking for more multiple methods of research, looking for people who can combine quantitative and qualitative, and it extends to just about any discipline. You can come from law, from social scientists. I have people come from developmental economic backgrounds, from social scientists, anthropologists. So the main thing is that you are either working in or you're interested in working in the mineral sector.
And another question. Has there been any consideration given to design thinking and social innovation and finance in driving sustainable solutions within the small-scale artisanal mining study pillar?
Okay, so I probably would like even to I don't know if Thandazile or any of my other cohort can come on. Yes, so this is where we're doing a bit more. I didn't catch the whole question, but Thandazile Moyo comes from, she's a research officer with us. She comes from an artisanal mining background herself. And she's quite passionate. Her passion's really in developing technologies to support artisanal mines, miners and small-scale miners. So we've actually been approached recently by an industry organization that wants us to look at modular designs for repurposing or recovering gold from mine dumps. So it interfaces with quite a lot of the work that we're already doing. And then, of course, we do work with people like the names just It slipped right out of my mind as I was about to say. But we do work with people who are actually in the artisanal mining field, particularly within Africa. So we have quite a few of our affiliates and associates that have a lot of experience in the actual application and challenges around artisanal mining.
One more question, and then we are out of time. So let's just take this one more question. What are the requirements for one to be enrolled in these master's programs?
So for a master's, you need to have at least a 4-year degree. With our MPhil, we do take into account prior learning. So if you've, say, got a technical diploma, but you've got 10 years experience, then we will consider you as well. But it's normally a standard requirement is a 4-year degree in order to do a master's.
And then just one more question, sorry. How can non-academics, i.e. industry experts, get involved?
We work with a lot of industry experts. So we have quite a few adjuncts, and then we have affiliates and associates. So we work quite closely, and just email me. And yes, for instance, our Mine Dust Network, we've got 96 members, and certainly not all, they all come from NGOs from all over. So we're always looking for people to get involved with mineral theatres with our workshops and our activities and our outreach, and even to come and give lectures to our students and be part of our coursework.
Thank you.
The name is Daniel Limpetlaw, that I forgot that we work with, and he teaches into, for instance, as an example, Daniel Limpetlaw works extensively up in Africa with artisanal miners, and he lectures into our LEAD program. So, and he's not in the academic world.
Thank you, Jenny. And if you want to get involved and have more questions, please either contact Jenny or myself. So that's jennifer.broadhurst@uct.ac.za. Yes, and then the same with my name, aysha.lotte@uct.ac.za. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and the recording will be up.